Barnes. Dumbuya.
Here.
Ross.
Here.
Rowan.
Here.
Van Sluis.
Here.
Teal.
Here.
Mayor Bracek. Or Spooner.
Just can't let it die.
I was off for a week.
Mayor Spooner's
Mayor
here.
Spooner's here. Sorry.
And the Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Our second item is approval of the agenda. Anybody have any omissions, changes?
Mayor Spooner,
Yes.
I make a motion to approve the agenda.
Motion by Dambuya, a second by Barnes. All those in favor, signify by saying
Aye.
aye. All opposed? Passes. The agenda is approved. We have no presentations or introductions. Item number 4, approval of the minutes of March 11th, 2025.
Second.
By Barnes, a second by Van Sluis. All those in favor, signify by saying
Aye.
aye. All opposed? Motion passes. Request to be heard, we have none on the clipboard. Consent agenda items, 6A through 6U. Anybody want hold to be talked about?
Item R, please, for further discussion.
Mayor Spooner,
Yes.
I'll make a motion to approve consent agenda items 6A through 6Q and 6S through 6U.
I'll second.
Motion by Ross for 6A or through 6Q and 6S through 6U. Seconded by Roan. All those in favor,
Aye.
All opposed? Those pass. Mr. Roan, what would you like to discuss?
What's the backstory on it?
I think the backstory is that the League of Cities has put out a call to all cities to reach out to their legislators. Letters of support for any legislation do require approval of the council or anything, and so that's why it's on here tonight. This was something that Dave Wanberg and Harry Davis had drafted from the planning standpoint, and so that's why it's on here.
No, but what is the concern that the legislature is doing?
They're trying to basically take away the ability of cities to regulate density of housing as it impacts our zoning. And so that would be something that would be problematic for the city of Faribault. We have a very good comprehensive plan and zoning ordinance. And so what that could mean is if this were to pass, a developer could come in and want to put something high density in a single family residential neighborhood, and we would have very little to no ability to regulate that. And so I think we have quality within our neighborhoods. We have specific areas for high density residential, and that we want to maintain that control of where high density residential goes versus the state of Minnesota saying it can go anywhere.
Yes.
I'd like to add that I have a few questions too. I'm glad Councilor Rowan brought it up. I would like to discuss it more, mainly just to find out more and learn about more of our building codes versus the state mandates that they're trying to pass through. I'm not always a fan of the big guy taking the power of the little guy, meaning us, the city. There's reasons that these plans are in place, but I also agree that we need to make things a little bit easier for builders and homeowners to build and expand within Faribault. The construction material requirements was one question I had. There was the state was suggesting banning the interim ordinances related to aesthetic mandates, and it would also prohibit the required minimum parking spaces within Faribault. So that's something I'd like to discuss more as far as the 3 acts that are on topic for tonight. Letter R.
So the next work session that we would have where this could be discussed is going to be April 15th. And so we can certainly do that, and we'll know more about what's happening with the legislation at that point. Because April 1st we're not having a traditional work session. It's going to be focused on strategic planning. So if there is still a letter to send by April 15th, we'll put this on the April 15th work session agenda for further discussion, unless the council would want to have a work session after the regular meeting on April 8th.
I would like to hear from Scott. Do you have any insight on this or not really?
It really is a situation of local control. So it's a policy question from the standpoint of how much control the council wants to have in your city versus allowing the legislature to say, globally, you have to do X, Y, and Z instead. So that's what it comes down to. That's why the league obviously has some concerns. They've been working on it, to my understanding, working with legislators on this, but it is a local control issue. And so it's up to you how much you want a seat of that control to, as Councilmember Barnes says, the big guy. You know, that's really what it comes down to. Obviously, as the bill moves forward, there'll be some discussions and deciding what works, what doesn't. This has come up before. It's just another attempt that they're looking at it again. So it's there, it just hasn't been adopted before. Yep.
I might add too, I did speak with our senator and our state representative, and both of them are against the bill. Senator Jasinski did say that he does not believe it will go through, and you're right, they did try to pass something similar in the year prior, and it did not go through. This is a bipartisan bill, which I love bipartisan. I love that community and state can work together, but yeah, I'm not 100% for it. So discussion will be good.
Okay, I'm in favor of voting for this tonight. We voted for this last year. I believe we wrote the same letters. This takes away a lot of local control. I think that the cities should have and want to have. I mean, this is not just Faribault, this would be statewide. And I'm sure that there are multiple cities that are
Mayor Spooner, I'll make a motion to approve consent agenda item 6R.
Second.
motion by Ross, second by Teal for
I think this bill is something that would be more suitable for bigger city. Also, the other side of that is housing concern. So, but yeah, based on the size of our city and population,
All right, I have a motion and a second. All those in favor of it, signify by saying
Aye.
aye. All opposed?
Nay.
Motion passes.
I just want to clarify
Yeah.
that I'm not opposed to it on its merits.
I have no problem with staff bringing forward a larger discussion on our ordinance. Okay. Public hearings tonight, we have none. Items for discussion, we have quite a few. Item A, Resolution 2025-079, approval of plans and specifications and establishing a bid date for 2025 miscellaneous concrete projects, contract 2025-01. Mr. Mark Duchesne.
Thank you, Mayor, members of the council and the public. Before you tonight are 4 resolutions, each approving plans and specifications for 4 of our capital improvement projects this year. The first resolution is for our miscellaneous concrete project. Every year for the recent past years anyways, we've bid a miscellaneous concrete project where we bid replacement of sidewalk and curb and pavement and other things that we have to have a specialty concrete contractor do. We don't necessarily know always how much we're gonna end up doing every month. We give the contractor a list. They complete that work and we go from May through November usually. These things take care of things like curb replacement due to water main breaks over the winter, public sidewalks or other works that the Parks or Utilities Department want done around their facilities. So it really is just a miscellaneous job. Bid out a number of quantities, and oftentimes we spend a third to a half of what all spelled out to the contractors. So, Resolution 2025-079 approves those plans and specifications and sets a bid date of April 16th for the 2025 miscellaneous concrete project.
Thank you, Mark. Any questions?
Mayor Spooner.
Yes.
I'll make a motion to approve Resolution 2025-079.
By Ross, a second by Barnes. All those in favor of Resolution 2025-079,
Aye.
all opposed? Motion passes. On to Resolution 2025-080. Approval of plans and specifications to establish a bid date for 2025 residential street overlay and sidewalk improvements contract 2025-02. Once again, Mark.
Thank you, Mayor, members of the council and the public. The second resolution is for our residential street and overlay sidewalk improvements contract. You'll recall 2 weeks ago we were here with the public hearing, had some discussions. Since that time, we did remove the sidewalk on 25th Avenue as council directed from the project. So the revised plans and specifications that are before you tonight for approval do not include that sidewalk on 25th Avenue. Listing of streets is on the map here. Reminder project scope, this is a mill and overlay project, so we'll grind off all or portion of the top surface of bituminous, repair castings and structures, replace defective sidewalk and curb, and then pave a bituminous overlay. Project costs for this have obviously gone down with the removal of the sidewalks, so we're just over $1.15 million, and you can see the funding splits amongst our capital funds. Project schedule moving forward, approving the plans and specifications tonight. Again, we'll set a bid date for April 16th to come back at the following meeting on April 22nd to award a contract. I anticipate construction will start late May, early June, depending upon the weather and contractor availability, and we do have a completion time of August 30th, 2025. With that, I'll stand for questions, but ask you to consider Resolution 2025-080.
Mayor Spooner,
Yes.
I make a motion to approve Resolution 2025-080.
I'll second.
Motion by Dumbuya and a second by Roan to approve Resolution 2025-080.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. On to Resolution 2025-081, approval of plans and specifications and establishing a bid date for 2025 MSA street overlay and utility improvements, contract 2025-03.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. This is the second overlay project. This is our MSA, or Municipal State Aid Street Overlay Project. A reminder that we separate these two projects out because this project is funded through our Municipal State Aid account, which is revenues that the city receives from a portion of the gas taxes. So this project is Hewlett Avenue from 7th Street up to 20th Street or Trunk Highway 3. A similar project scope to the previous project. We're going to grind off a portion of the existing bituminous surface, repair castings and structures, replace existing curb and sidewalk as needed, and pave and overlay. Also included on this is to add some water main and some missing segments along Hewlett Avenue. The base bid on this project includes the water main from 17th Street to Bradley Road, and then we do have an alternate bid to complete a segment from Bradley up to 20th Street to replace a water main that failed last year. So with the alternate of that additional water main, we're looking at an estimated project of just over $870,000. Again, you can see the funding split between our municipal state aid account, the water utility. Without that alternate water main, we're just under $600,000. Similar project schedule, pending approval of plans and specifications tonight. We have a bid date of April 16th to again come back on the 22nd. Depending upon contractor availability, late May, early June start and August completion. So again, I'll take any questions, but ask you to consider Resolution 2025-081.
Are there any questions?
Mayor Spooner? Make a motion to approve resolution 2025-081.
Second.
Motion by Teal, a second by Vance Luce. All those in favor of resolution 81 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion passes. Resolution 2025-082, approval of plans and specifications to establish a bid date for 2025 Third Avenue Southwest reconstruction and improvements, contract 2025-04. Director Mark Duchesne.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. This is a little bit different project, but similar proposal tonight. This is for our Third Avenue Southwest reconstruction project. So this is a full street reconstruction of Third Avenue from Division Street down to Third Street Southwest. Proposed improvement here is a completely new street. As council directed at the previous council meeting, we are removing the angled parking in the northernmost block there, adjacent to the old Immaculate Conception Church and Divine Mercy School. New roadway, new curb and gutter and approaches, new sidewalk, new utilities. This is the big one. Full reconstruction there. Total project estimate for this is just under $1.5 million. Again, you can see a majority of this is funded through our street improvement fund, which is funded through franchise fees, and then the various utility funds pay for their respective portions of the project. Identical project schedule here. April 16th bid date for an April 22nd award, May-June start, and August completion. With that, we're asking you to consider resolution 2025-082.
Questions for Director Duchesne?
Mayor Spooner.
Yes.
I'll make a motion to approve resolution 2025-082.
I'll second. Go ahead.
I have a motion by Ross, a second by Barnes for resolution 2025-082.
Aye.
Motion passes. All right, we're done with the road construction. Item E, 2025 A, General Revenue Water Bonds.
Yeah, I'm going to do kind of an introduction of this and just go over a little bit of what was in the memo. And then George Eilertson with Northland Securities will be here to talk more about the process and the items that are here before you tonight. When we were putting together the budget for 2025, the water fund was the one fund that had a number of projects over 2025 and 2026 where there just wasn't the cash on hand to fund those. And so Mark has shown us over the projects that are going out to bid that each of those have a component for water in them. And so kind of the projects that we're looking to fund in 2025 would be the water portions of street reconstruction, which is a little less than $800,000, reservoir rehabilitation, which is estimated at $1.5 million, and I believe Travis will have something at some point in the near future with that one. The specific water system improvements, it's a number of looping projects that are detailed further in the capital improvement plan for 2025. That's $1.73 million estimated. And then we get into 2026 where we have $1.9 million of water system improvements estimated, as well as $500,000 for the garage. So that gets us to a little over 6.4 million. 6.98 is the total that we have out there. The cost of the bond, the cost of borrowing, all come out of the bond proceeds as well. So we're not paying for that from any other water revenue sources. It all comes out of the bond. So we've got some room built in there that hopefully the contingency will help us get through what could be an interesting bid environment really over 2 years when there's a lot of unknowns related to tariffs and what that looks like for the market with, I think it's ductile iron that we utilize in some of our projects. So that's kind of the big introduction. And then I'm happy to turn it over to George with Northland Securities to talk more about the process and what's here before you tonight.
Good evening, Mayor, members of the council. George Eilertson, Northland Securities. Jessica, great overview of the project itself. It's nice to hear, for the council's benefit, what what is being financed. So tonight I've got 4 items for you. Mayor, if you'd like me to go one at a time.
You can go through them and then we'll vote for them all at the end. Is everybody happy with that? Yeah.
Okay.
Yep, was
Perfect,
one
perfect.
presentation.
I'll quickly overview the 4 items then. The first is a resolution essentially calling for the bond sale. In our industry, we call it a set sale resolution. The purpose of that resolution, of course, you're not issuing debt tonight. What you're doing with this resolution is calling for a bond sale to take place at your second council meeting in the month of April on April 22nd. So really, council, that's the quick overview of that resolution. It provides a basic structure for the financing, but really the main purpose is just to set a sale date for April 22nd. The second item, actually item 2 and 3 are together. It's what's called these bonds are eligible for what's called the State of Minnesota Credit Enhancement Program. It's a really nice program for Minnesota municipalities. Water, sewer, and storm projects are eligible for credit enhancement. The city has an underlying AA bond rating, which is already very strong. The credit enhancement program lifts that bond rating up to AAA. And so just as a little background, Jessica referenced the rating fees or the other costs of issuance are included in the bond. You would already be paying for a rating fee as part of your bond issuance. Certainly when you have a rating as strong as AA, you want to use that. It helps to drive your interest rates lower. Adding this credit enhancement program on top of that is an additional $500 fee. But the benefit of the credit enhancement is it lowers your interest rate by approximately 1/10%. So this financing is preliminary size is $6,980,000, structured over a 20-year financing term, lowering that overall interest rate by approximately 1/10% will save the city approximately $80,000 over the 20-year term. So the cost benefit of spending $500 to save about $80,000, that's a pretty good use there. So that's the overview of the State of Minnesota Credit Enhancement Program. The state stands behind your bond issue, again, because for cities, sewer, water, and storm projects are eligible for that program. So the second item is a resolution to enter into the program. And the third item is an agreement with the State of Minnesota Public Facilities Authority, which administers. That's items 2 and 3 together. The fourth item is what's called the Municipal Advisory Agreement. Our capacity in this financing is as your municipal advisor. And so the agreement details our pre-sale and post-sale duties to the bond issuant to the city. Pre-sale would be putting together the bond offering statement. That's what investors review when they consider bidding on your bonds. The overview of the city includes your most recent financial statement. And then post-sale or sale plus post-sale is conducting the bond sale for you and then helping with the bid tabulation, et cetera, and then the closing of the bond thereafter. So again, that's the Municipal Advisory Agreement. So in summary then, City Council, the bond sale would be on April 22nd. We would take bids in the morning at 10:30, be back to your City Council meeting that evening to present the bids to you at that time.
Are there any questions? All right, thank you. All right. We'll move on with Resolution 2025-090, providing insurance and sale for general obligation water revenue bond series 2025A in aggregate principal in the amount approximately of $6,980,000.
Mayor Spooner? Yes. I make a motion to approve Resolution 2025-090.
Ross, all those in favor,
Aye.
all opposed, Motion passes. On to resolution 2025-091, the obligating the city to be bond by and to use the provisions of Minnesota State Statutes, section 446A-.0086 to guarantee the payment in principal and interest of the bond.
Mayor Spooner. I'll make a motion to approve resolution 2025-091.
I'll second.
Ross,
Aye.
Aye.
all opposed, motion passes. 3, approval of the Minnesota Public Facilities Authority Credit Enhancement Program Agreement.
Mayor Spooner. I'll make a motion to approve Minnesota Public Facilities Authority Credit Enhancement Program Agreement.
Second.
Second by Van Sluis.
Aye.
All opposed, motion passes. On to approval of municipal advisory agreement at Northland Securities Incorporated for
I'll second.
Aye.
all opposed. Motion passes. We are done with items for discussion. Thank you. On to bids. Resolution 2025-085, accepting the bids for the Straight River Water Main Crossing contract.
Thank you, Mayor, members of the council. Last Wednesday on March 19th, we opened bids for the second time for the Straight River Water Main Crossing. A reminder, this is a project to replace the 20-inch water main. That's the sole feeder line from our water treatment plant up to our elevated storage reservoirs on the east side. The current line runs shallow underneath the Union Pacific Railroad and is attached to the pedestrian walking bridge. We're proposing to replace that with a bored line underneath the railroad, provide some more reduced risk for issues with that pipeline than its current design. We bid this project originally last September. We received 2 bids in September. The low bidder had an error in their bid, and the high bidder, well, both bids were above our budget at the time. So as you recall, we rejected both bids and said we'd work with the railroad to see if we could find some additional cost savings. We tried that. We were unsuccessful in getting the railroad to budge on some of the requirements. So we rebid this project last Wednesday. This time we received 4 bids. The bids as opened are on the screen here. Subsequent to the bids opening, it was recognized that Icon LLC, who at the time was the apparent low bidder, there was an issue with their bid. They have requested to have their bid withdrawn due to an error. So that was part of why we didn't have a recommendation ready for the packet, is there's some legal issues and some contractual issues that we've been working through with Attorney Riggs. So before you tonight, there are 3 options for the council to consider. You can once again reject all bids and try a third time to bid this project. I will say the 3 other bidders here, they're all within, $60,000 of each other. And the one valid bid we did get the last time was in that 1.64 range. So I feel like we know what this project is going to cost. I don't know that bidding it again is going to get any better. So I feel like the next 3 bids after Icon are valid bids, and what the true cost probably is. Option 2 tonight is to just deem Icon non-responsible. That's bidding language there. That we basically say, look, your bid is not valid. We don't recognize it. We're going to throw you out and award to the second lowest bidder, which is Pembroke Company. The apparent low bidder the first time, who had an error in their bid. They bid again, and obviously they solid bid this time. That allows us to keep the project moving forward, move on with it. Or the third option, and this is a little bit of a riskier option, and there's no guarantees. We could award to Icon LLC, force them to not sign a contract, and try to draw on their bid bond, and discussions with Attorney Riggs. While this is a legal avenue to pursue, it's not a guarantee that we'll get the bond company to pay us the 5% bid bond that was presented. It also means that we potentially go weeks, if months, trying to sort this out before we could eventually end up second lowest bidder, more than likely. So before you tonight are those three options. Want to get feedback on council if you have interest in pursuing, drawing on the bid bond. Option 3 here, we would recommend that you table this until 2 weeks so that we have time to further research it. Attorney Riggs in his tenure has told me he's never been through. So we'd like 2 more weeks to sort that out. We have the right to hold the bids for 60 days, so we're actually going to lose the second lowest bid or anything if we hold them. If we do award tonight, construction would likely begin this summer, depending on material availability and contractor availability. We don't know when exactly they would start, but final completion would likely be, by contract, would be September of 2025. Looking for feedback from the council. For options 1 or 2, I do have resolutions that I can pull up and show you if you want to go with one of those 2 options. And again, if option 3 is what you'd like to pursue, we would ask that you table this item for 2 weeks.
Are all 3 of the other bidders still interested?
Yes. None of them have asked to be withdrawn.
Sense to me to either do a lottery of the 3, flip a coin type thing, or go to the next lowest bidder.
The only viable option would be to go to the next lowest bidder. Next lowest responsible bidder.
Why is that? Just because that's dictated in statute?
Correct.
So if we reject all the bids, is it gonna screw up the timeline significantly? You go back out for new bids?
We'd be, if you reject all bids, I would ask you to, to direct staff to rebid it immediately and set a bid date of, I'll look at my calendar here, but whatever 3 weeks from today would be. It'd be a month that we would be delaying the project. So, and we'd likely have to extend the completion date at that point. We'd have to go October, November completion date. Which, this is on the north end of the Viaduct Park project. The features that are going on as part of that project are not planned at this time. So other than there being construction traffic on the north end of the project there, during while the Viaduct Park could potentially be open late summer, early fall. That's mitigatable up there. But yes, if we rejected all bids and rebid it, we'd be out.
Thank you, Mayor. I guess I would like to go ahead and remove award it to the second lowest bidder. I think bidding it, last year, I think this is going to be about as competitive as we get. Would you agree?
The numbers, last year, again, that second bid was 1.64 in change.
So
We're $17,000 less than that with the second apparent low here, up to 40,000 above that. So on a $1.5 million project, that's a pretty tight.
I would like to ask the council to just move forward.
Any other discussion? My 2 cents is that's what I would like to do. I'd like to just see this project get moved. We talked about this last summer, and I would like to see it move forward. So I would give it to the second.
So with that, here is a resolution. So the resolution we've come up with is our standard award resolution. We did add language in there that said initially it appeared that Icon LLC of Dodge Center bidder. Subsequent to bids being opened, Icon LLC alleged an error in its bids and that its bid be deemed non-responsive and withdrawn from consideration as non-responsive. And of the remaining bidders, it appears that Pembroke Companies, Inc. of Menominee, Council's directed to enter into a contract for Pembroke for their bid amount. Return the deposits of all the bidders except for Pembroke and the next lowest bidder. That would be the resolution 2025-085.
Any questions on that new resolution?
Mayor Spooner.
Yes.
I'll make a motion to approve resolution 2025-085.
Yeah, yeah.
Motion by Ross, a second by Dambuya to approve resolution 2025.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Any boards, commissions, reports, announcements, project updates, anything?
Yeah, just as a reminder, April 1st is going to be kind of our first strategic planning session with council and with all department heads. And I'm going to hopefully have Heather confirm times. There is, before the planning session, there is a closed session to do my evaluation at 5:30 at Buckham West. And then after that, or approximately 6 o'clock, we would be gathering in the Great Hall for the strategic planning session to start. So that's kind of the schedule for things, and we will have some appetizers available since we're keeping you over the dinner hour.
Great.
And then
Yes.
this Friday is the joint boards committee meeting from 11 to 1, is that right?
Correct.
And then the retirement of
Correct.
Henry.
Yes, I thank you, Councilmember Von Sluis. I feel that I have neglected to mention that I think our longest serving employee ever, Henry Morgan, wastewater treatment facility superintendent, is retiring after 50 years. I think he hit his 50 years in the fall of 2024, and he's decided that it's time to leave the wastewater treatment plant and to move forward. So we wish him well, and there's a reception from 1 to 3 at the Public Works meeting room, and so we hope that we'll see everybody there.
50 years, that's we should be giving him a key to the city, so congratulations to him. All right, anything else? Nothing. Take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Those in favor of adjourning signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? We are adjourned.